Okay, so we will start now. We are already past 7. Uh, so, as always, we'll do some like brief recap of what was taught in the last week. Actually, uh, before doing this, this last class when I was discussing linear regression, in the forecasting chapter, there we could not talk about this what you call tracking signal, etc., because of the time constraint that we had. But uh, I think we can talk about it now for some time, and then maybe we can go to the quality control part because some things in the quality control portion are there in the next week also, and some spillover topics of forecasting from last week are coming in the week 11 content. So it's a mix of both forecasting part and this thing, you know, quality control initial lectures. So what we'll do, uh, we'll just see some questions about forecasting first, which were pending from last time, and then we'll go to quality control. So we'll start with the. I mean, I'll not go to the initial part where you know in week 11, week 10 last week, we described what is forecasting versus predicting, then what are the different methods for forecasting of established products. There was a naive method, simple average forecasting, moving average method, weighted moving average method, exponential smoothing. Uh, then there was this what you call linear regression for predicting the forecast depending on the trend. So those things you can go back correlation. This one, this in trend correlation factor is also there. So if its value is one, what does it mean? If it is minus one, what does that mean? So all those things are covered in the last class and last discussion. So you can refer to that. The video is on YouTube, and I think notes are also available on this NPTEL course website. So, one second, I think somebody has joined. Uh, Hello, Sanjay. Hello. Uh, okay. Where do I see the participants? That is here. Okay, so Sanjay has joined. Anyway, so yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll discuss things that were not discussed in the last class, but still part of the forecasting this thing. So there is one thing which is forecasting error. So basically, when you do forecasting and you know it goes wrong or it goes right or it is deviating from the actual demand that was observed during that period of time. So how to keep track of all those things is nothing but given by the forecasting error calculation. So there are different types of forecasting errors. There is something called as mean absolute error. which is called as MEE. And as the name suggests, it is a absolute error. So therefore there will be this mod sign, which is you just take the actual demand minus forecast what you did. You take the absolute value, so you'll not miss whether like you have over predicted or under predicted that forecast, and you take the summation and you divide it by the number of this thing, what you call uh, number of samples that you are calculating. Then there is one more error which is actually frequently used, is called as mean squared error. So you can, short form, you can take it as MSE, which is equal to, so basically whatever error is there, which is demand minus forecast, you square it and then take sum of it and divide it by total samples. So these two, uh, like you can define other also. You can just say instead of mean I want to take absolute error. That is also fine. But these, when you take mean, you basically uh, taking effect of all errors, and doing some kind of averaging type of thing. So that's where you'll get a better idea. So anyway, these two things are important, and then you have something which is tracking signal. So tracking signal is nothing but as the name suggests, it is a tool with the help of which you can track whatever is your demand and forecast and how it is going. So basically, tracking signal, it has a formula, but personally I don't get it much when I just see the formula. So better thing would be we can take one example and then we'll calculate tracking signal and then see what it means basically. So for that, I think similar example was taken by professor in the class also. But let's take one more so that we'll have some clarity about it. Uh, 1 second, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, so uh, we'll take one example. So here what we are doing is we have a data in which it is a monthly forecast data and actual demand data. So you have demand, which is actual demand every month, and then you have what is the forecast that you did, and then 1 second. Uh, okay, I'll just give you the data first, and then I'll tell you what it is. So you have 6 months of data. So you have Jan, Feb, March, April, May, and June. Okay, and actual demand is 97, 93, 110, 98, 130, 133, and then you had forecasted 100, 100, 100, 100, 102, 109. So by the looks of this data, one can, I mean, it may not be 100% correct guess, but see, you are predicting constant demand during the Jan, Feb, March, April, May, April months, and your forecast is increasing as well as your demand is also picking up during the May and June period. So maybe it is some kind of cyclical business which picks up towards the month of May and June. Maybe some kind of that type of business it can be. So anyway, so here our objective is to find. I would say. Uh, I would say just you can calculate the earlier values also. Mean absolute error, mean squared error, and tracking signal for each month. Because this mean absolute error and MAE and MSE, they are like overall quantities, but this thing uh, tracking signal is for each month. It is not an average over some period of time or like 6 months or something. So we'll tackle the easiest part first. So what will be MAE? Basically, it is summation of mean absolute error. So absolute will be DI minus FI. You can write FI minus DI also. No problem there. It is anyway absolute. So it will be for first month DI minus FI is minus 3, but absolute if you take it is 3. For second month it is 7, it is 10, it is 2, it is 28, and then you have 33 minus 9, so you have 24, and total 6 months are there. So this is 20 plus 30, 50, 74 by 6. 74 by 6 would be 12.33. So this is your mean absolute error. But here you can just take a note of something when you do some calculations. Last 2 months, you can just pay some attention to the last 2 months. Here your broadcast is off by large amount, right? That is maybe the key observation that you need to make here, because that's why your error is increased, because earlier the error was 3, 7, 10, 2. So their average was like 22 by 4, which will be less than 6. But here, if you consider the last 2 months, the average is going about 12. So your error is more towards the last couple of months. So maybe then you can look at why that went wrong, and then you can figure out how to tackle this next time, or for next month also. That is also required. And then there is MSE. The formula is more or less similar, but here you take square of the error, forecast error, and you sum it up and then take an average. So it will be 9 plus 49 plus 100 plus 4 and 28 square. I think it is 74. Let me just confirm. Yeah, and 24 square is 576. So divided by 6. So again, I'll do the maths. 74 plus 104 plus 49 plus 9. It is 1522 divided by 6. And that comes out to be this is your answer. 1522 divided by 6 is 253.66. So maybe I can round it off to 67. So this is your answer. So these are the errors that you have. but these errors are basically some sort of error over a 6 months of time, but this will not help you much unless and until you deep dive like this. Like earlier I told you, right, last 2 weeks you have a huge forecast error, and therefore your estimates have gone wrong terribly. You can see in the month of May you forecasted 102, but the demand was 130, so you lost business of 28 units of that quantity. Similarly, in June you lost 24 units of the sales. So therefore, there should be some indicator which is you can keep track daily, like daily, not daily, but here on a monthly basis. So that is what tracking signal does, and as the name suggests, it is for tracking. So for tracking signal, you need to do some modification to this table, and I'll tell you what it is. So here what you do, sorry, you calculate. Maybe I should insert some space here because yeah. So here you need to make couple of more these things, columns. Let me just see if I can make them properly. How many more do I need? 5 columns. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 5. Forgive me for making them small, but you'll understand why. So here you calculate the error, which is nothing but di uh, minus fi, which is your error, and then you take cumulative error. So cumulative error. So basically, what you do, you add that error in the previous error, and you do the same exercise for here. You take second. This is cumulative error. Here you take absolute error. So I should just write it like this. There will be mod separating, I mean, and this is your absolute error. And here you take cumulative absolute error. And then you take mean average deviation, which is called as MAD. So what does this mean? Mean average deviation. Okay, so that means whatever your absolute error is there, and when you do the cumulative sum, you divide by the number of samples that was taken in that sum. I'll explain. So anyway, so you need to make these some columns extra here, and di minus fi will be here -3, -7, 10, -2, 28, 24. This we already did here, but here you are taking actual error. So I should just say actual error, not absolute here. And then you do cumulative sum. So basically what you do, the first term will be like this. Then you add the second term to the first. So -7 plus -3 -10. Then you add the fourth next term in the previous. So +10 -10, 0. 0 plus -2 is -2. Then you take 28 -2, 26. And then finally you have 40, 50, because 26 plus 24. And now you take absolute error, which is 3, 7, 10, 2, 28, 24. And now you do the same, but you just add absolute error. So this will be 10, 20, 22, 50, 74. Now, the tricky part here is MAD. So MAD is basically, I'll just write somewhere because MAD for a particular month is nothing but Uh, 1 second. Uh, yeah. So MAD for a particular year is particular month is cumulative absolute error till that month, and then you divide it by uh, number of months completed so far. So basically, uh, you are not taking the whole 6 months. If you are calculating MAD for second month, you will take absolute error till the second month, and then you divide it by 2 because it is only 2 months. So if you apply that logic here, for first month, MAD will be equal to cumulative error because you divide it by 1. Now for second month, you divide this thing, what you call, uh, this MAD is cumulative absolute error divided by number of months. So 10 by 2. So I'll just write for this convenience for you. And for 1 second, yeah. So for next month, the absolute error is 20. So it will be 20 by 3, which will be, I think, 6.67. Then next month, the absolute error is 22, and we are at 4 months. So it will be 11 by 2. So it will be 5.5. Then you have 50 by 5, which is 10. And then you have 74 divided by 6, which is, I think, 7.33 or something. Let me just clarify. 74 divided by 6. Oh, 12.33. So now the data is complete in the table. So now you can calculate tracking signal for a particular month, which will be nothing but uh, this cumulative actual error, not the absolute, till that month divided by uh, number of months completed so far. Oh, sorry. It will be divided by mean absolute deviation till that month. So we can make one more table that will actually help us understand better. So TS is like okay, I'll just TS should be at the last. So this is month. Then you have this cumulative absolute error, right? So you have cumulative actual error, sorry. Then you have MAD, mean absolute deviation. And then you have tracking signal, which is our goal to find out. So again, same Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June. So I should have drawn longer lines. Anyway, so now this cumulative actual error we already calculated here. I just need to copy paste. So -3, -10, 0. -3, -10, 0, 2. Then -2, then 26, then 50. Correct? And then we calculated MAD also. 3566, 356.67, 5.5, 10, 12.33. Now we can calculate the tracking signal by dividing these two. So first tracking signal will be -1. I'm just checking if our answers are matching. Yes, -1. Second will be -2. Third will be 0. Fourth will be -2 by 5.5. So that will be -2 by 10 by 2. So -4 by 10.4 should be right. Okay. Oh, 11 it will be. So 2 divided by 5.5. So -0.36. No, equal like approximately 0.4. And then you have a big deviation here. And then for June month, it is 50 divided by 12.33, which is 4.06. So now you can see, right? Uh, the whole point of doing this exercise was to get an indicator which will, guide you in uh, tracking whatever errors you are doing and how to, uh, uh, you know, how to get back to it. That is a separate part, but that is a precursor. Sorry, tracking signal is precursor to that part. So here you can see in January month the tracking signal was -1, then it was going down. So basically tracking signal should not be, I mean, I'll just make a note of it here for those who will see this later. Uh, Tracking signal should not be too high or too low. It should be within some range, and that range depends on how much accuracy you want, how much data samples you have, and all those things, and whether this is secular growth business, cyclical commodity-based business, etc., etc. But it should not be too high or too low. So here you can see when it is close to zero, that there your prediction and your forecast is more or less okay. But wherever it crosses, let's say like ±1, there your forecast as well as your like actual demand and forecast, they are quite substantially different, and that is highly evident if you see the June data. In June, your tracking signal is almost 4. So uh, here, I think any value above 2 is a bad signal for this type of data. And here, if you had an idea about tracking signal in month of May when it came 2.6, then you might have taken some corrective action, and in month of June you might have got lesser tracking signal. But I think this analysis they did not. I mean, since they have got so much big tracking signal, I think they did not use tracking signal to monitor this. So anyway, this is how you calculate tracking signal, and this is what its significance is. So uh, I thought we should just take one example and discuss about it. Then maybe we can take one more example about you know this linked regression model. So the theory was discussed last time. I'll just take a quick question so that you'll have some reference of how to do that. Here you have some sales data for a company. Sales data for a company is as follows. So again, it is a weekly sales data. I'll just make sure this time we have enough space. So we have 5 weeks data, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and units. So 700, 724, 720, 728, 740. So this is the data you have, and question says using linear regression predict sales for next month, which is 6th month. So now this is a classic linear regression problem. So here what we do, to stick with our previous notation, this will be our xi, this will be our yi, and let me just check. Yeah, so here you need to make 4 extra columns in order to apply the linear regression formula. First you take the xi square, then you take xi yi, and okay, 1 second. Uh, 1 second. Is this correct? Yeah, actually there is no need for taking 4 columns. We just take summation at the end. So anyway, here xi square will be 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and xi yi is the multiplication of first 2 columns. So it will be Sanjay, can you just mute yourself, because I think some noise is coming. So 724 into 2 is 1448. 720 into 3 is 2160. This will be 312912. And this guy will be 377. I think I am not doing any mistake. 740 into 6. 740 into 5. Okay. 728 into 4 is 722. 720 into 3 actually. Yeah, I think it is correct. So basically what you do when you do this calculation, you just take summation of xi square, which is here it will be 14 plus 16, which is 30, plus 25, which is 55, and then you take xi yi summation as well. So for that I'll need calculator. 700, 1448, 2160, 2912, 3700. So the sum is 10920. So basically here your objective is to use this data and find the 2 unknown constants which define the equation of line, which will one will be the slope and other will be the intercept. So for that you have 2 equations which are given like this. So it will be n into a plus b into summation of xi and therefore summation of yi also you need to do. Summation of yi if you do, which is 700, 724, 720, 728, 740. This comes down to be 3612, and summation of xi is 15. So you have this equation which is summation of yi 3612. You have 5 weeks. A is the unknown that you are interested in to find, A and B, and summation of xi is 15. So you have equation 1, and then you have other equation which is xi yi equal to A into, I think xi, yeah, xi plus B into xi square. So here it will become 10920 A into 15 plus B into 55. So this is your second equation, and now you need to solve these two. Okay, I see one way to do this, which will be multiply equation 1 by 3 and subtract it from 2. So what does that mean? That means 1920. This equation is as it is, 15a plus 55b. And then the first equation we need to multiply it by 3. So 3612 into 3 will be 10836. 5a into 3, 15a, 45b, because we are multiplying it by 3. And then we subtract it from everywhere. So what do we get? A will 15a, 15a gets cancelled. So on this side we have 10b, and on this side 920 minus 836, which is 84. So therefore our B is 8.4. Okay. And now we can put this value in equation 1, and we get 3612 is equal to 5a plus 15 into 8.4. So this guy becomes 126. So 3612 minus 126 divided by 5. So therefore A becomes 697.2. Therefore the equation of line that we are interested is yi equal to A plus B into xi. So basically that becomes yi 697.2 plus B is 8.4 into xi. So now we need to find which basically sales forecast, or we need to predict it for 6 months. So we need to point 6. So that will become 697.2 plus 8.4 into, it will be 6, because this is the 6 month. So plus 8.4 into 6. So we have prediction for 6 months is 747.6. But since we were talking in whole figures till now, we'll just round it off to the nearest number, which is 748. You can keep it as it is. There is nothing wrong in it, but since the data was like that, so this is how you use linear regression in reality to get the answers and predictions. So I think we have discussed more or less everything in the forecasting part. Now we'll shift to the quality control because some things about that we can discuss today. Some things we can take later also. So basically, let me just have some water. So yeah, quality control. Uh, as the name suggests, it is. I mean, there are two keywords here. One is quality and one is control. So basically, uh, what happens is if you are running any organization or something, uh, whatever finished goods or services that you are providing as a business to your customers, uh, you need to. Sanjay, can you just mute yourself? Again, some background noise is interfering. So yeah, uh, yeah. Where was I? Huh, what is quality? So basically, uh, whatever goods or services that you are providing to your consumers or to the market, if that goods or service satisfies the expectations of the consumer, then the consumer says, or it, like in layman's term, that is what is called as quality product or quality service. If your customer is not satisfied with your performance of your goods or service, then it is generally termed as inferior quality product. For example, uh, in Indian context, if you buy something and if it breaks down within a couple of months, where it is supposed to be, at least go till year or so, then you call this is Chinese mal, or I mean that is a wrong term, but this is you can get the idea about what the quality means. So basically, quality is based on perception, and that perception is derived based on the performance of uh, your component and what was the expectation behind it. So uh, there are some nine dimensions of quality because see, quality is a very subjective term. It is not as easy as defining it in a quantitative manner. So uh, therefore, and it varies according to the business, according to the economic macroeconomic headwinds for the business, and also in the economy how the consumer is behaving. So all those things are there. So you cannot define quality like that. So whenever you are talking about quality for any finished goods or service, you need to understand these nine dimensions uh, of quality. So basically, these are like things that you can, you can also define, but formalizing in nine parts is an important concept because then you'll be clear about what this means. So first is performance, which is the most important dimension. So if your goods or service is up to the mark in terms of its performance, then that is a primary parameter which is used to justify the quality of the product. Then there is features. So apart from basic features, what all extra features that you have. So basically, you can take the example of mobiles. So the primary function of mobile is to do calling uh, or maybe access to the internet. Nowadays, that is also you can consider as a primary function. Uh, so, but let's talk about what is mobile. So mobile is a connects device which connects you to the other person, which is not in a direct site of communication, and then still you are able to talk through use of satellite communication channels. But nowadays, if I give you a mobile which only does calling and does not provide you any other function, then you will be obviously not satisfied, and that will be the worst product to introduce in this market, right? Because nowadays you don't use mobile only for its primary function, which is calling. There are many additional features. One of like I can name a few. One is camera. So in the era of social media, uh, sometimes you don't even bother about the calling quality or calling functionalities of the phone, but you are more bothered about this thing, how much megapixel camera, front camera, back camera, flash on front camera, back camera, blah blah blah. So you can see these are features. Then you have a processor for gaming. That is also one of the secondary features. So mobile company which offers you all the primary functions as well as more number of secondary functions will be considered as the quality. I mean that company will be considered as having quality. For example, uh, iPhone. You can take the example of iPhone in this context. So, an iPhone cameras are pretty good as compared to its other competitors. So, therefore, we call iPhones as a quality product. And other phones are also quality product, but they are like slightly inferior quality. iPhone is a superior quality product in the case of mobiles. Then, apart from these, there is something called as conformance. So, I think it, it comes from the word confirm. So basically, whatever specifications that you had provided for a particular goods or service, or whatever specifications you are expecting, it the manufacturer should manufacture the component in such a way that at least all those specifications should meet. Otherwise, the customer will not be satisfied, and that is called as non-conformance. Then there is something called as reliability. This this also becomes important for many industries. Uh, so reliability is basically it is a feel good factor for a consumer, because if you install something in your factory or workshop or somewhere, and if you find that if you purchase this from a branded company, then there is no need for frequent maintenances. There are no frequent breakdowns in that component, and that's where you trust the brand to be reliable. And for that, if you need to pay some extra money, you will also pay that money, because deep down, your perception regarding that brand is that the brand is reliable. So instead of paying lesser money to the inferior brands and managing the breakdowns or the servicing or the maintenance, etc., it is better to pay slightly higher money to the reliable brand, and that actually applies to many industries. Reliability is a very important factor for creating a good consumer perception. Then there is again durability. So each product comes with the life cycle or lifetime, which is prescribed with the manufacturer. If the product runs till the uh, prescribed life cycle or more than that, then the consumer is satisfied, or he or she will feel that okay, this product says it should run for 2 years, but since last 4 years it is running without any problem. So then they'll believe that okay, your products are quality products. So like that. Then There is one more is called as service. So any machine can have breakdown or maintenance requirement. So your product should be easily serviceable in terms of if it is requiring external help, then your company should provide it, or if it can be serviced by anybody, but it should be easy to service. It should not be very tedious. So that also is a one of the criteria for uh, defining or judging the quality of the product. Then there is response. Uh, and nowadays nobody likes to wait for anything. So response time, again this mobile example, whichever processor is fast, it has fast response, that will command the good quality, like that. So it should be, the response should be as fast as possible. Then there is aesthetics. So uh, I would have put this way above other than service and all, because nowadays what looks good is considered as good. It may not true always, but aesthetics forms a very important aspect for any product, and there are dedicated teams which work on aesthetic aspects. In terms of, let's say, uh, maybe to give you a slightly different example, consider the case of this thing, uh, website designing or app development. So you can develop app which looks very basic, or you can develop an app which does the same function as the basic looking app, but its user interface is very good. You have multiple features, multiple functionalities, like sharing the screenshot, or like sharing the link to the other apps, etc., or saving the data to your local hard drive or local memory. So the two apps are there who do exactly what they're supposed to do with same efficiency, same response, etc. But one app is, easy to use or looks better, looks good. So that is what nowadays there is an emerging field which is called as UI, user interface. So designing people, like who has expertise in that domain, they design how the interface of your app should look like. So, for example, if you have, let's say, Google Pay, if you have Phone Pay, and many others are there. So out of Paytm, so out of all those apps, see, basic function of all those apps is same, to transfer money, or like basic primary function is to transfer money. But they have some additional features like flight booking, bus booking, train booking. All of them have it more or less. Additional features like paying bills, etc. But still, some people prefer Paytm, some people prefer PhonePe. And why? The reason is some people are comfortable with the PhonePe's user interface. Some people are comfortable with the Paytm or Bheem or Google Pay, whatever. So, like that. So, this aesthetics is also very important. The app or the product should look, I mean, apart from doing all its basic functionalities, it should appear good also. It should appear pleasant. It should not appear uh, dull or old or something like that. Okay, so that's why any finished goods, a proper care is maintained so that it is delivered in a good condition, properly wrapped and properly painted, etc. So like that. And last but not least, reputation. Again, I think you can have a good example about this in terms of one example that comes to my mind is about the automobile manufacturers. So there is this company called as Volkswagen. All of all of us have heard about it. So at one point of time, Volkswagen was considered best in quality for its automobiles, etc. But I remember one documentary where I saw that they have not properly adhered to the pollution control norms set, like prescribed by the European governments. And when that thing broke out, they had to recall many vehicles. They lost. the trust that their brand had built over the years. And therefore, now if I want to purchase a car or something, I would think twice about going for Volkswagen, because you never know, that can be recalled again, right? So the reputation, once it is tarnished, it will be there for a long time. Uh, People will not easily forget about it. And in case of now, everything is so much tantalized or sensationalized on the social media. It will be very difficult for that brand or that goods or service to come back with the same vigor and capture the same market. It will be difficult. For example, let's not go to the negative side of the things. Consider the example of Tesla. So, in the space of EV manufacturing and selling, Tesla commands a good brand reputation because their product is superior, and based on I think I told you in one of the earlier classes that Tesla doesn't have sales department or marketing department or this what you call where this retailers, etc., etc. So whatever they do, it is mostly the Elon Musk publicity on Twitter and social media, and then the mouth-to-mouth publicity among the consumers who are using that brand. So you can see, the even without sales or marketing, have you seen any ad of Tesla? No, right? Because they don't need to. Their reputation, they have built the reputation such a way that their quality, product quality, is itself the criteria for their sales, etc. Whereas if you see these IPL matches and how many online gaming ads are played there, so you can understand the difference. Anyway, so these are the important things that you should be considering. Uh, then there are some evolution of quality standards. So basically, before industrialization, there were individual quality control. So whoever worker was best performing, he would have the job to check the quality of finished goods, etc. But over the period of time, it has evolved. So and it keeps on evolving. So nowadays, basically, if you see, there are these ISO standards for everything, and anything you purchase, there will be somewhere on the product it will be written as ISO. Some number will be there. So nowadays those standards are followed for quality. Uh, then there are some things which drive the quality of any product. Uh, First is actually obviously the competition in the market. So if your product is quality product, you will survive in the market. You can win more market share, etc. Whereas if you don't, then your survival will be again under threat. So these are like major things, but like there are some minor things also, like uh, you know desire of that promoter to do better, or maybe that industry itself is booming. So all those things are there, but majorly competition in the market is the key driver. Uh, then there are some cost, because everything we like to connect it to the cost so that we understand it better. So so cost of quality, there are three parts. One is cost of conformance. Second is cost of non-conformance. And third one is cost of lost opportunity. Uh, See, as the name suggests, cost of conformance is basically the cost that you have to pay in order to conform with the specifications, and cost of non-conformance is something which is if you don't conform to the specifications, what is the cost that you pay? And cost of lost opportunities, if you don't deliver quality product in the market, you will lose the customer. And what is that cost for you? If you have a component where the cost of lost opportunity doesn't matter to you, considering, let's say, you're a company which has a monopoly, so there is no competitor in the market, so there you don't bother that consumer stays or goes, because anyway they have to come back to you only. But in case of market where you have enough competitors, there this cost of lost opportunity is also important. Then I think one example was there. I'll just explain with the example. Let me see if I can find it. One second. Where did I see that example? Yeah, I'm not able to find it, but anyway, I hope the point is conveyed to you. What does it mean by all these things? And there is one more important thing is regarding this. One second. Yeah. There is something called as like there is one triangle, famous triangle, wherein you have this quality of conformance. Again, conformance is nothing but uh, what like you want to adhere to the specifications given by uh, the uh, consumer. Then there is something called as quality of design, and then there is something called as quality of performance. So this is one important triangle. I think it was discussed in the class also. So what happens if you have if you want to design a product which will have a superior quality, very high quality of design, but in that case your quality of conformance and quality of other qualities like cost or quality as well as cost you can consider, these things will go up. So you need to have a balance. So basically when you are designing anything or any component from the quality point of view, you need to understand that the design should be of good quality, the performance should be of good quality, and the conformance also should be of good quality. Any one of these is not good or not up to the standard or not up to the expectation of consumer, then it is considered inferior quality product. So for example, if your product design is superior, very good. If your product is performing superior, like best performance that you can expect, but if it is not what the customer wants, then what is the point of it, right? So therefore you need to consider all these three uh, parameters in order to arrive at a optimum quality for a given product. So then, yeah, I'll take one question here because that will clarify the next part. uh, yeah, so then there are different techniques of uh, you know analyzing uh, different aspects of a product in order to uh, reduce the defects or inefficiencies and improve the quality. So there are different techniques there. Instead of going one by one, what I can do is I'll just show you this thing. One second. I think think FPC we'll discuss next class because that class is all about that only. So here, yeah, 1 second. So here, this thing. The question is, match the following. Here you have brainstorming. Then you have fishbone diagram. Then you have Pareto diagram. And then you have flow diagram. This is your first column, column A, let's say. And then you have column B, where it describes what column A terms mean. So here, first option is tool to prioritize the most effective factors. Then the second option is, I'll just number them. Here I'll put ABCD. Show the sequence of events during action quality management tool. Analyze causes of any particular effect. So this is what your question is. So I hope you know what brainstorming is. So basically, brainstorming in a general sense is a technique where multiple people or multiple persons uh, come together and discuss something and come with the like solution which is accepted by all and which is like feasible solution for that given problem that they are facing. So in this context, for quality control or something like that, you can say that you are producing certain goods and your marketing team, when they do some market surveys or something like that for forecasting or something, they observe that customers are not satisfied with the certain aspect of your product and they convey it to your quality team in your organization. So now this is very important because if it is a certain aspect of your product which is not appealing to the customers, you need to take action. Otherwise, customers will shift to the another competitor. So now your quality team, like all of them, managers, like assistant managers, then supervisors, then factory workers, quality team, etc., etc., warehouse quality team. There are many teams in the organization. I'm talking about a well-established organization. So there, everyone will have a Zoom meeting or Teams meeting like what we are doing right now, and then they will discuss that why this uh, this thing, this aspect of our product is not appealing to the customers, and then they'll take suggestions from the crowd or whatever, or maybe they'll have some sort of written form or something, and based on that, they'll discuss what are the possible outcomes that we should consider before uh, you know uh, putting it out there, and then finally the manager or the boss will take the call that okay, to improve this aspect of our product, we need to do this action points, and this is what is called as brainstorming session. So therefore, the brainstorming is nothing but a uh, quality management tool. Okay, I hope it is clear. Then the fishbone diagram. Fishbone diagram is nothing but, as the name suggests, it looks like a fishbone. So basically, uh, what you do, you create uh, like diagram like this. One second, the fishbone diagram generally looks like this typically. I have used it once. Uh, it is actually good tool, to be honest, because so basically it looks like fish skeleton, so therefore it is called as fish uh, diagram, fishbone diagram. So it looks like this. So you have an effect, and you try to figure out what is the cause that led to that effect. So basically, generally, this effect can be uh, any defect or breakdown, etc. So basically, in your factory, if your a particular production line is getting more number of breakdowns, then that is the effect. So now you need to figure out what is the cause. So maybe one of the cause can be like uh, it can come from raw materials. So there may be two, three things in only from raw materials, like the quality of raw material, the vendor who supplied the raw material, was that changed, or maybe the formulation was changed, something like that. So like that, that there can be one input, raw materials. Then there can be this thing, uh, manpower, or let's say not manpower, we should say uh, labor or human personnel. So the operator that was operating that line, was he competent enough, or was he doing something which is he should not supposed to do, or deliberately doing it, or something like that. So there will be some number of causes here also, and then there some causes will be like, let's say from maintenance division. So if that line is breaking down frequently, was it properly maintained? Was the schedule of maintenance properly followed? All those causes you list it down here, and then you'll give them some sort of priority. Maybe you can give them some score or something, and then finally you make a list of causes, most probable causes that would have resulted in this effect. So this is what the fishbone diagram is, and therefore, in context of this question, fishbone diagram represents the technique to analyze causes of any particular effect. So B will be related to 4. Now Pareto diagram. Uh, Again, let me use some other color. Uh, if you haven't seen Pareto diagram, so basically it looks something like this. You will have some sort of columns here, and then the height of columns will go down like this. So I myself have used the Pareto diagram some time back when I was in the industry. So what was happening is, again, you can take that example. Is this color okay? Okay. Anyway, uh, yeah. So maybe I'll shift it to black. So what happens is, uh, example, with example you may understand it better. So uh, let's say the case study for analyzing breakdown of a machine. So I was facing this problem in one of the production line. There was a packing machine which was frequently getting uh, broken down. So because of that, the downtime of that line was high, and the efficiency of the plant was getting hampered. So here, what you do is you list down the causes. So uh, cause number one, cause number two. So it can be example uh, improper maintenance. So what you do, you just list down all causes and you count them. Uh, you keep a count. So what happens? Uh, so you have like causes on the x-axis and you have count of that cause, like why the break, like when the breakdown happens because of improper maintenance, then you count it as an improper maintenance and you plot it here. So what happens? You realize that there is something called as 80-20 rule here. So you realize that uh, you know 80% of the effect is due to 20% of the causes. This is a general rule, okay? So don't take it like exactly hard rule that 80% should be because of 20%. Not like that. But generally speaking, 1:4. So out of uh, uh, like if you have let's say five causes and five breakdowns, generally it happens that because of one reason, multiple breakdowns happens. So this 80-20 rule is applicable here. So what you do, you analyze, you make this Pareto diagram, and you see that what all causes are there which are causing let's say 80% of the breakdowns, and those causes you tackle. How do you tackle? That is a separate question, but then you tackle these 20% causes which are causing 80% of the breakdowns. So this is what the Pareto diagram is. So therefore, Pareto diagram is nothing but tool to prioritize most effective factors. So it should be like this. And then again, the last is flow diagram, which shows the sequence of events during action. So basically, as the name suggests, flow diagram basically you can consider it as a you can consider flow diagram as a tool, which uh, gives you the idea of yeah. So flow diagram basically tells you what is the exact sequence of events that should happen during an action. And if something is not taking place according to the flow diagram, then maybe you can look into more details of that. So these are like different main techniques. Apart from this, there is something called a histogram. Histogram is again the quantity of interest is on x-axis and frequency or the number of counts is on the y-axis. So that also is one of the techniques, but mostly these what are given in this question are important techniques. Then there is one more thing which is called as one second, which is called as scatter diagram. This is sometimes also important technique. So what you do, uh, you want to analyze a relation between factor 1 and second factor. For example, if there is a breakdown happening, uh, you see that improper maintenance is an important cause, as well as this thing, what you call the inefficiency of a person who is operating that machine. That is also one of the important cause. From Pareto analysis, let's say you understand these two causes are causing 80% of the breakdowns. So then what you do, you plot them. So basically you will have something like this, some data. So sometimes some patterns may emerge out of it. For example, in some cases you may get something like this. So when you get some correlation like this, red crosses that show, so they are like positive correlation, right? We discussed this in the last class also in correlation factor term. So here you see that factor 1 and factor 2 are positively correlated. So if you can reduce factor 1, factor 2 will also reduce. Something like that you can conclude. So you need to look out for such correlations. And that's where the scatter diagrams are important. Uh, in case of this black scatter, there is no correlation because they are like scattered. There is nothing you can make out of it. So something like that. There may be a case where you will get something like this between two factors, some relation like this. So this means the like when one factor increases, other decreases. So they are like negatively correlated. So this will be negative correlation. So sometimes scatter plot is also important. That can be used. And after this, there is something called a statistical process control, which is SPC. I would like to discuss that in the next class because next class will be the last class, and we can discuss the whole thing there rather than doing it in the parts here. So, and today we are also almost at 8:30, so we can stop here. So yeah, I think only Sanjay was there. Yeah, Sanjay is still here. If you want to ask any questions, Sanjay, you can go ahead. Otherwise, we can stop for the day. Yeah, I think Sanjay doesn't want to ask anything, or he may have understood everything. So anyway, we'll stop here for the today. And this SPC, some part was discussed in the week 11 classes, but I'll discuss the whole thing later so that we'll have we can come like because this forecasting we did it in two parts, so I don't like to do that way. So maybe this SPC and different type of charts and formula, etc. That we'll discuss next time, and that will be quite interesting because that also is usually used in the industry. So okay, so now we'll stop and see you next time.